Hi, I'm Callum from Tyne Valley Motorhomes, and this is a handover of a 2013 Chausson Flash 10. So as we start the walk round on the driver's side of the vehicle first, we've got this locker here which opens with the habitation key, which is your small black key. Turn the handles, and underneath there you do have some storage underneath your seat and two relay boxes. So these relay boxes are for the table and the bed, but just ignore them. Then further back you've got your Fiamma F45 rollout awning canopy. You've got your fridge vents, LPG, liquid petroleum gas. This is your gas locker, so again opens with the habitation key like all your motorhome locks do. And in here you can fit a 6 kilogram gas bottle. This is our test bottle. So what you would do is, once the bottle is on in situ, there's some straps behind it to strap the bottle in. So always strap the bottle on board and secure. And then you do have your pigtail. So to connect your pigtail, it's a left hand thread. So opposite threads with it being gas. No need for a spanner, you can just hand tighten onto the bottle and then turn on and off from the top. We always advise that you turn it off before you start driving, and then when you arrive back on your site you can knock the bottle back on. Behind the back wheel is your waste water outlet. So this is anything that you've drained down a plug hole. You'd simply go over the motorhome service bay, pull the handle, and in the middle there it will start draining out. Always drain the water off before you leave your site, as you wouldn't want to drive around with the extra weight. And in the winter it's very important that you drain this off, because if not, the frost will freeze the water in the tank and potentially cause a lot of damage by splitting the wastewater tank. So always drain off. At the back you've got your long locker here. So this is your, so you can access it from inside with the various shelving unit. And then underneath you've got a light, you've got your carb mat, and you've got your awning winding handle to wind out your awning. You can lift these off, these are just Velcro, and then they just pop back on and secure. Come around the back, you've got your high level reverse camera, your brake light, and then at the bottom you do have a 2 bicycle carrier rack. So you would drop it down, bike wheels on the rails, and then these through the spokes to tie the wheels down. And then you've got 2 arms which go through your crossbars of your bike. Underneath you've got your toilet. So this is your cassette loo. So to use the cassette, again opening it with the same key, ensuring that the blade's closed, which I'll go into more detail from inside, which is the grey lever on your bowl inside the toilet. That's got to be closed to lift this and slide the cassette free of the vehicle. You can then either carry it or you can drag it with the wheels to your waste disposal point, which is normally beside your toilet block. Take the cover off, press the button here, stops it glugging. Tip the cassette out. Once you've tipped it out, there's normally a tap there, so you would put some water in, give it a rinse, and tip out again. And then when using the liquid form of chemical, 120 ml this cap takes, fill it, tip it in, and it's good to go back into the vehicle. If you're using the tablet form, you'd put a pint of water in, which you can do when the cassette's outside the vehicle or pushed in completely dry. Flush a pint of water in, followed by 1 tablet. So it's either 120 ml of the liquid, which is either the blue or the green, or the tablets, which is 1 sachet per cassette change. At the bottom here you do have a space if you did ever want to fit parking sensors in the future. It's got mouldings in the bumper for them, but there's none fitted at present, but that's up to you whether you get them fitted in the future. And then on the passenger side you've got your mains connection point. So to connect, you'd lift the collar on the hooker bleed, expose it to these ends, and then just push it on. Always hook the vehicle up first, then the power source, and do it in reverse when unhooking. But when unhooking, there's a small blue clip which you'd push down to release the hookup from the vehicle. Your freshwater intake, so again using the key, you can lock and unlock this. Carry your hose pipe with you and some hose pipe connection ends, as it's mainly just a brass tap on site. Put the hose pipe in there, wait until it overflows, until you're happy there is enough water on board, which you can see from the main control panel above the habitation door inside. And then to drain off, you need to get underneath the vehicle, and all you need to do is pull this off. There's a little blue pipe above. Pull it off. It's a 15mm compression fitting. Pull that off and that'll drain off the fresh water. So if you've taken on contaminated water, you're not using the vehicle for a while, or it's the winter and you don't want the water to freeze, you would just pull that off and allow all the fresh water to drain out. When heating the water on gas, this cover must come off. So to get it off, put your hand on the top, finger in the middle, and peel the cover off. Then the best place to put it in the passenger door somewhere. Then when you come to drive away, you just pop the cover on so that the behind the cover doesn't get dirty. When you wash the vehicle, make sure the cover's on. But if you're heating the water on gas, it must come off because it doesn't allow the fumes out and then the system will fail. Here you have your diesel filling point, which you'd open with the transit key. Leisure battery is underneath the passenger seat on Chausson, and on Ford, because there's no space underneath the bonnet for the battery, it's underneath the carb seat for your engine battery. And then using the key, again, pop it in above the Ford badge, turn it to the left hand side to pop the bonnet, and then to the right to release the bonnet. And you've got your various liquids, so brake fluid, power steering fluid, oil filler, dipstick, screen wash and coolant. This is an earth here underneath this red cap for giving or receiving a jump start, and then you just earth off the engine hoist here as the battery's underneath the seat. And then you've got chassis number, your build number, which is all unique to each vehicle. 3.5 ton gross vehicle weight. If you were to put a tow bar on this, your train weight, which is the motorhome, whatever you're towing, can't exceed 4.5 ton, which means you can tow a ton behind the motorhome. So above the habitation door is your main 12-volt control panel. So if you get this light here, it means you hooked up on mains 240 volt. If you don't, then you just run off your 12-volt leisure battery. So you've got a master switch at the top right hand side, which turns the vehicle on and off. Then underneath you do have your awning light, and then underneath that you've got your pump. So you make sure you've got enough water on board first, and then you can turn your pump on, which will surface your taps, toilet and shower. You've got your main interior lights on the bottom left hand corner. The middle button on the left hand side does your fresh water reading, so there you've got nearly a full tank of fresh water. And then at the top it shows you the reading of your leisure battery, and then click again and it'll show you the reading of the Ford Transit engine battery. So above the fridge you've got your grill, so you've got a sparking lighter here, your light, and then obviously your gas control valve, so you can turn it on and off from there. You may want to take these out when travelling, as they can cause a bit of rattling when on the road. And then underneath you've got a freezer and separate fridge. The controls in the middle, so I'll just go through that now. So to turn on and off, you just press and hold here, the square button on the left hand side, turn it on. And then to change the energy source, you need to press the grey square button in the middle. So you just press and hold until it starts flashing individually. So that's mains hookup. That's battery, which works when the engine is running. It has to be pre-chilled beforehand and it'll act as a cool box. So if you've had it on hookup like we have now, leave it overnight with your shopping in. It'll get nice and cool. And then when you're ready to travel, so either you're traveling from home to site or site to another site, you just press and hold, turn it to battery, press OK, set your temperature, which you can go up and down, 5 being the coldest. Or if you're going wild camping, you can go to gas, which is the gas flame, and then that'll self-ignite on gas. So you've got gas, 12 volt, or mains power. So mains power will act as a household fridge. Gas will work if you're wild camping, you must have your bottle turned on, and then 12 volt will only work when the engine's running and you are moving, as it keeps the shopper nice and fresh until you arrive back on a site and you hook up or you go back onto gas. And then when you're winterizing and not using the van, it's very important that you clean your fridge out, take everything out, give it a wipe out with some anti-bac, and then underneath here you'll notice there's 2 grey clips. Pull the clips out, slot them in there, and it'll allow an air circulation in and out of the fridge to stop mould and bacteria from forming if the door was to be closed fully. So across in the kitchen area, you've got 3 lit gas rings. You will need some sort of match or ignition lighter to light these, as there's no built-in ignition. And then once you've turned them off, if you allow them to cool down before you put the hob top down, pushing the catches in, you've got storage above, 12 volt plug in here, storage, deep storage drawers, and then a small storage cupboard at the bottom. Push the catches in to lock them when travelling or stop them from springing open. And then this little light is individually switched. And of course you've got your sink with the cover, so your little built-in drainer. So make sure the pump's on. And as you can see there, you're getting hot water. As you can see, the steam coming off the water. That's indicating that your water is up to temperature. So just on the side of the travelling seats in the diner at the front, you've got your diesel heater control. So off is in the middle. This is your temperature. You need to make sure that you've got a quarter of a tank or more in the diesel tank. Press the top one and you'll get the red light, which indicates heat, as you've got 3 wiggly lines. And then should the van be hot enough, you turn the heat off by going to the middle and popping the fan on, which will circulate the heat around the vehicle. And then to control the table, you need to put the little key into here and the table, and then if you just go up and down, the table will go up and down via just using the key. But be very gentle with these, as you wouldn't want to break it. So just lightly down and back up. But I'll show you how to make the bed at the front in a moment. Across the back of the vehicle you've got your washroom. So you've got your large shower. So make sure you put your turnbuckle and catch on the shower screen before travelling to stop them rattling about. Got a hanging rail for wet towels, but also it's great for if you've been caught in the rain. Wet coats and bits and pieces can hang in there and drip dry, and you can wash them off with the shower head. When winterizing, you'd want to leave all your mixer taps throughout the vehicle open. It's very important that you remove your shower head as well, because any water that's coiled up in here will sit in there and potentially freeze. So if you just drop that down onto here, and it does have a duct board in the bottom of the shower, so it's better for bearing weight and the water will just drain off. And then open your shower screen, or should I say skylight, it's not your shower screen. You just turn for ventilation, but always make sure all your skylights and windows are locked before you start travelling. And then across from it you've got your hand basin. You've got your TV aerial, so you've got a long TV aerial there. So what you can do is loosen this nut off if you were struggling, but green indicates that it's found a signal, orange means it's got a weak signal, and red means it's not got a signal on you, and you can boost it on here. So if you loosen that off, loosen it off, and then you can push the stem up and down and use the toggle on the bottom to direct the aerial on the top. But look where other motorhomes and caravans are pointing on your site, and you'll be able to get a good enough signal. The back you've got your storage, which I've shown you from outside, but also got your wardrobe rail, so you can lift these out and you can hang things in there. And then to operate your toilet, so make sure the pump's on. Press the blue button, which is your freshwater flush. Flush the toilet first, which will lubricate the seal and stop the blade from sticking, and get into a habit of doing this. So flush first, then the grey lever here is the blade, so slide that open. Everything will go into the cassette. Flush after use, and then slide it back to the left to close it, and then you'll be able to get the cassette out the back of the vehicle. Should it be open, you'll not be able to get the cassette out because it will not move. And if you are using any pink liquid, because it doesn't have a header tank like caravans, what you can do is pop them into a spray bottle and dilute it with some water, spray the bowl before flushing, and it'll do the same job. Towel rail, and you do have a blacker fly screen and a blackout blind. Pinch in the middle to do part the two, and then you can slide your window open at the back, but do ensure all your windows are shut before you start driving off. So to make the bed below, drop the table down, and then you'd use pull your base cushions forward and drop the backrests in the back. So that's the backrest off there, the base cushion off here with the backrest. Remove the small backrest in the corner as it's not needed, and there you have a large double bed. And then to operate the table, through the key, and bring it up. And then you can push it wherever you need it to be, and then when you're ready to lock it in, pull that lever back, and then the table is then locked in that side. Do the same with this one, lock it in, and there it's fixed into place, and it'll not move when you're travelling. And then to bring the bed down, turn the switch on. Make sure you've got the lights on the bottom of the control panel, because it feeds the bed. And then you just press and hold. Obviously release the security buckle, and it'll come down. And it goes down in stages. So there it's got to its first one. Move your backrest and you'll be able to get it all the way down. So if we just remove these, you'll be able to bring the bed all the way down. It'll come down a little bit more as well. And then you've got your nets that you clip onto here if you're putting children in it, or your ladder so you can get up onto the bed. Just behind the passenger seat, if you take the base cushion off and lift the panel, you'll find the location of your boiler. So your boiler's in here. Heats the the water, so it heats 10 litres of water at any one time. In the winter, it's very important that you drain the vehicle completely dry of water. So you leave all your taps open, you open your waste, you release your fresh water by pulling the plug off underneath the van, you remove your shower head. Then you want to allow the water out of here. So just down here, there's a little toggle. So if you lift that in this middle and stand it up on end, throughout the time you've got the vehicle stood up, not in use over the winter, do it with no power on so the pump doesn't kick in. Then leave all your taps open, open your waste and your fresh outside. And then when you come to reuse it, shut your tap, shut here, shut your fresh, shut your waste, fill with water. Go to the cold side of the tap first. You'll get an automatic cold water feed because it's drawn it from the freshwater tank underneath the chassis to the tap. Go to the hot side, it'll cough, splutter, make all sorts of noises because what it's doing is it's drawing it from the freshwater tank underneath into here and then into through the tap. So wait until you get a free flow of water from the hot side. This is when you know that your system is primed, then you'd carry on to do the other taps. But you don't have a fault and you don't have any problems when it's cough spluttering. Just let it do its cycle until you get pressurized water through. You've got all your 12-volt fuses here. You've got all your trips here. So on mains electric, this is your trips, so your RCD's in there, and you've got your charger. Then on the front, you've got your controls for your hot water. So you've got ultra store on 230 volt, which is electric. So the cover doesn't need to come off if you're using this one, if you're on a site. So you've got off in the middle. The top's 1 kilowatt and the bottom is 2 kilowatts of heating your water, depending on what the site gives you in ampage. And then your ultra store is your gas. So this one, which is the right hand switch, this is where the cover needs to come off. So you've got off in the middle, 70 degrees, 50 degrees at the top, sorry, and then 70 degrees at the bottom. And by all means, you can't have the electric and gas on together. It'll just reduce the time it takes to heat your water. So now in the cab, to the right of the driver is your handbrake. And then to black the cab out, you've got curtains which come around the rail from both sides to black the cab out on an evening. To lock your doors on the cab, you just press the button in, unlock, and it'll lock both passenger and driver as they both respond to each other. Electric windows, mirror adjustment, so you can adjust your mirrors, and it's just the top ones that they adjust. You have to manually adjust the blind spot. You've got your headlight aim adjuster, side lights, headlights, pull it out, and you can put your pulled out once, you put your front fog lights on, pull it out twice, you put your front and your rear fog lights on. And then you can go to a park light, which is turn it to the left. You've got your wipers, indicators, but also goes through the trip computer. So on here you can go through here, so it'll tell you the air temperature outside, the average speed, your average fuel usage, your distance to empty. On there you've got your volume and your mode for your stereo down here, on and off for your cruise control, and then you would just set it there. And then if you've got to cancel with a foot brake, you can just press resume and it'll go to the last speed set before the engine was turned off. Got a 12 volt above here, so if you just press this, you can plug your sat nav in up there, or your dash cam, or your various other charging appliances in there. This will fold over and it's 2 cup holders. You've got your hazards and your heated windscreen. So it's great on the Ford that it's got the heated windscreen, so within 30 seconds of that being frozen, this windscreen will be clear. Push on and off for your aircon. This is your fan speed, recirculation to the left, max to the right. Distribution, so where you want the air to go to and what temperature. 12 volt. FM AM radio, and press 1 to 6 to save your favourite radio stations. You can put a CD in. And you do have aux, which is a 3.5mm jack, which is you'll find above the passenger side dashboard, which is just in there, that little grey socket, and then you've got your normal glove box here. You've got a rear view camera as well, so this is on permanently when you're in first to sixth, or you can go down into reverse, which is lift the collar and lift, and it changes to a different camera, as it's a twin lens camera on the back of this one, and you'll see right the way down, and this is the line of your bumper.